Good day, ma'am. This is Mariel Buyan, and this is my reaction about war on drugs of the Duterte administration. Here in the Philippines, there is a lot of crime, corruption, and poverty. Drugs are an important cause of this, at least according to the Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. That is why Duterte wants the drug problem to be tackled. This is why he introduced the Oplan Tukhang, or as we know it, the war on drugs, as soon as he became a president in May 2016. His goal is to create security for the good citizens by protecting them against crime, corruption, and poverty. The country has been experiencing less crime since Duterte's presidency. Yet, there is much criticism on Duterte's approach and also on the approach of the Philippine National Police. This is because the war on drugs are accompanied by the violation of many human rights. Since fighting crime is accompanied by a lot of state violence, it is questionable how people perceive this. I found a research study related to Duterte administration about war on drugs. Here. My God, I hate drugs, and I have to kill people because I hate drugs. So this is the line of our very own President Rodrigo Duterte. On May 9, 2016, Rodrigo Duterte wins the presidential elections in the Philippines with 39% of the votes. In his election campaign, Duterte promises to reduce crime, poverty, and corruption in the Philippines, of which, according to Duterte, drugs are an important cause. Drugs are therefore a major problem in the Philippines. That is why Duterte starts a war against drugs, also called Project Tukhang. In the beginning, Duterte promised to put an end to drug-related crime within 6 months. However, soon he admitted that he needed more time. Nevertheless, his goal is to create safety for the good citizens by protecting them against crime, poverty, and corruption. Violence is used as a spectacle to cow criminals while assuring good citizens that they are safe. In short, Duterte's war on drugs should ensure safety for the citizens. The question is therefore whether the perception of safety in the country has risen since the war on drugs. However, since Duterte started his 6-year term as president, he is notable because of his unorthodox political style. Many Filipinos have already been killed because of the war on drugs. This is accompanied by the violations of many human rights. Critics think that Duterte's war on drugs is morally and legally unjustifiable, and there is a lot of international criticism on Duterte and his policy. In addition, innocent citizens are also the unfortunate victims of the war on drugs. The killing of innocent citizens is neither a crime, negligence, or recklessness, according to Duterte. Instead, it is just collateral damage. As a result, the feeling of fear grows in the Philippines. This growth in fear can also be seen in the growing number of people in prisons, where in July 2016 already nearly 60,000 people voluntarily went to prison after they heard that Duterte urged citizens to go ahead and kill drug dealers and users. Hence, people are locked up in prison because they feel safer inside the prison than outside on the streets. Although Duterte's policy is meant to create more safety and security, one can imagine that it could also lead to a decrease in perceived safety. That is why it is interesting to investigate whether the war on drugs provides more or less perceived safety for the Filipinos. In addition, this subject on the war on drugs is very topical, and therefore, it is interesting to interview people at this moment with the war on drugs still ongoing. In addition, it is also interesting to examine how this war on drugs influences the regime's legitimacy by saying things such as, "My God, I hate drugs, and I have to kill people because I hate drugs." One can wonder to what extent this war on drugs by the state is perceived as legitimate. Do Filipinos feel safer now since this war on drugs, and do they therefore approve of Duterte's unorthodox political style? And this connection, the Philippine National Police is also widely questioned. The PNP is frequently accused of the unnecessary use of force, their involvement in the drug circuit, and the protection of high drug lords. For example, the following news article, "Drug War Record, PNP expected to hit Supreme Court," states that the Supreme Court ordered the PNP to hand in full records of deadly cases from the war on drugs. This indicates that the legitimacy of the PNP is questioned because apparently the PNP needs to be monitored. Therefore, it is interesting to research the influence of the war on drugs on both Duterte's legitimacy and the legitimacy of the PNP. In short, this research study that I found investigates the influence of the war on drugs on the perceived safety and on how this has an impact of the regime's legitimacy. Hereby, it will also be identified whether Filipinos regard the state violence as legitimate. State violence becomes legitimate as soon as people feel that they are protected by it. This mainly concerns the extent to which the state does its job well. In addition, it is important that citizens perceive their state as legitimate because this means that there is more trust in political leaders. This is important because when one wants to deal with risk and to guarantee public safety, one needs to be trusted. Thank you.